Let me ask you, Amy, plumbing companies, especially the bigger ones that are multi-location, have brick and mortars. They would love to add GBP locations because that increases their footprint. And remember, we talked at the beginning that in a geogrid that might be, or the map around your GBP, where your GBP can be visible, might be 100 square miles in some cases. And so it's valuable. This is really a very important asset to a plumbing company's digital infrastructure, but you can't cover the country with one GBP. You have to add additional ones. Now, the question is, what is the right way to do so? Now, in the old days and other industries, people would say, well, go to Regis and pay $100 to a Regis facility. That doesn't work anymore. What's your advice now to a plumbing company that, for example, in a large market like the tri-state area where you are, to build a patchwork? Is there a good strategy, an appropriate strategy for how to do that so that a plumbing company with 25 trucks might end up with 6 GBPs? What's the right way that they would expand to make that happen?
The first thing is I will say I'm very white hat. I'm not underhanded. I'm not manipulative, and I just don't care about those methods, to be honest. What I would start with is by pointing out that a Google listing generally recommends you within anywhere from 2 to 5 miles only of your location. As a result, you're going to need representation in other areas. Now, the first thing I say, this flips us back going from GBP to SEO, local SEO. The first thing I would suggest is having location pages on the website for the areas you want to target. You know, if you're located in, say, northern New Jersey, but you want to go to the Bronx, you want to go to Westchester, you want to go to southern New York State, you want to go to central New Jersey, all of these areas should have their own page on the website, and they should be thoroughly optimized for that area, for that location as much as possible. You also want to ask for reviews that mention those areas. You want to have social media that talks about those areas. But the next thing that's most important is start out by having, first of all, just a well-optimized website that's also has a good internal linking structure is also very helpful. But overall, the other thing is when we want to talk about multiple Google listings, you need to talk about having a legit location. I have had people who have gotten, and I still think that there is such a market for this that somebody is not filling, and they really need to. I've had people I had somebody who was moving out of her area, but still wanted to be represented there. So what she did was she talked to, and this is Texas. So I'm not sure where your clients are, but there's a lot of Texas. Well, what they did was the client mentioned they had an outbuilding. So what they did was they already ran their business from there. So what they did was they split it up into 2 distinct office areas. This woman put her signage outside. She made sure that there was like suite 1 and suite 2 that were okay with the post office. And then that's what she used. So not only did she go from a service area to a storefront, so she got all this extra stuff. And meanwhile, she moved 45 minutes away. The issue is that you need to have a legit space. The other person who I did want to mention saying that this is a missed business opportunity is that the other person got the equivalent of, I swear to you, it was maybe 10 feet deep and about 4 feet wide. And it was a closet, but it was within another office space. It had a door. It had permanent signage in the lobby. Her name was on the lobby. Her business name was on the lobby directory. When you went to the office, sign was up, opened it up. There was like a desk along one wall. There were chairs. There were a few file cabinets, and that was her office. I know somebody else who had, I think it was a conference room for an office. It was, repurposed from something else. Those spaces, if you can find them, are not that expensive per month, and they will allow you to now have visibility in that physical area, in that geographic area. And that's the best way. If you want to have visibility in Google over a wide geographic area, the best thing you could do is get yourself, lease yourself, even if, if you need a small office,